It seems every modern-day president promises to release the JFK files, and then something happens, and we never get quite as much as was promised. Over the summer, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre announced the administration was done releasing files.
Under President Biden's leadership, agencies have fully declassified over 16,000 records since 2021. This action reflects his instruction that all information related to President Kennedy's assassination should be released, except when the strongest possible reasons counsel otherwise.
The National Archives and Records Administration says 99% of the files have been released. Officials say that none of the remaining information would change the essential understanding of the assassination. Not everyone's convinced. The New York Times reporting that about half of the remaining documents are being withheld as a result of President Biden's action, while the rest are being withheld because things like court-ordered seals, grand jury secrecy rules, tax privacy limits, restrictions imposed by people who donated papers. But what could these remaining documents still contain? Let's bring back Warren Commission member Burt Griffin, authors Robert Groden and Mark Shaw, who both believe there was a conspiracy, an attorney involved in JFK records litigation, Mark Zaid. So, Mark, why do you think it has been so hard to get this information out, and do you think there's anything in there that could change anything?
Well, you rattled off the litany of some of the reasons why the several thousand remaining records have been withheld. Another reason is actually some of the records reflect information about former assets of the CIA, particularly in Mexico City, where Oswald went in 1963, September, October, right before the assassination. You know, we had live assets in there who would have been in their 20s, and so now would be in their 80s now, or their family members might still be alive. And when I helped draft the definition of assassination records for the Assassination Records Review Board back in the early to mid 90s. We made it incredibly broad. It impacts and involves everything with respect to the events of the day, not just the assassination, but Cuba, the Soviet Union. So most of these records that exist now have nothing to do with November 22nd, 1963. And even if we go the conspiracy route, the thought that there would be a smoking gun document that exists in 2023 of 1963 is pretty out there. You know, if there was a conspiracy, and I remain open to evidence of that without a doubt, those records are long since gone. And we do know that records were destroyed. The Secret Service destroyed records decades ago with respect to its protection of the president that day.
Mark Shaw, do you feel the same way, that there's very little hope of getting anything new from these records?
What I'm hoping is that I'm right about everything I've talked about today. But besides that, I agree with him. You know, what at one point Biden said, there are documents in there that could affect national security today. How can that happen 60 years later? It's a bunch of bull, in my opinion.
Burt Griffin, what do you make of it?
I agree with Mark Zaid. I don't think there's anything to be found there. In fact, so far as I'm aware, that virtually everything that was of importance was already known to us and was given to us by the CIA and whoever else is keeping these documents secret.
Robert Groden?
I disagree that everything that exists has been released. I published a document that I found when I worked for the House Assassinations Committee. We call it the smoking gun document. It was to James Rowley, the head of the Secret Service, in response to a request of his to John McCone of the CIA. And part of this is a 2.5-page document. And I published it. And what it says is, Oswald's subject was trained by this agency under cover of the Office of Naval Intelligence for Soviet assignments. That's just one small line on all of this. The thing is, the House Committee had it, the Senate Intelligence Committee had it, and none of them published it. I think there's still more there. with all the stuff that was released now, I thought that at least this would be in that group. What I was really hoping for is the letter from McCone to Raleigh would be released. We still don't have that one.
All right.
There's more. There's more. And,
we shall see. And I think that there is no doubt that we will all be anxiously awaiting the next release, whenever that happens. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.